Welcome to the Josh Gerben Show, because law school didn't teach business.
Welcome, if you're just joining us, to our second live show. I'm attorney Josh Gerben, and this is a LinkedIn Live, which is we have the keys to the car here in the beta test for LinkedIn. And today's episode of our live show, I want to talk business. One of my favorite things to do in life, for those people that know me, is to talk business. And that is because I grew up in a family business, and now I run my own. So that's pretty much been my whole life. But I always feel that growing up in a family-run business has been a secret advantage that I have, because whenever I talk to a business owner, when I'm working on a trademark matter, I have a real good understanding of the issues and problems they're facing, because I've pretty much seen them all before, having grown up in that. My dad, when I was growing up, ran a chain of automotive repair centers, if you will. He went from a single shop in 1979 to the time I was in college, he had 13 locations. So all during my childhood, he was building this business, opening new stores, dealing with all the issues that come with managing inventory, managing employees, marketing and advertising, you name it, and I probably worked on it with him. And so having that background has been immensely helpful in my own career when I started my law firm and just operating my law firm, but also in understanding all of my clients and their business challenges as they go. So in today's show, what I'm hoping for is that you all will send me your business questions. I'm looking for any issues or challenges that you're facing in growing or operating your business. And I'm hopeful that if you can share some of these challenges you're having in your business, that I can talk about them a little bit, perhaps offer some of my insight, and it'll be helpful to the group, so to speak. So, Grace, how are we doing as far as participation goes so far? How many people are here?
We have 8 people watching right now.
All right, so we've got 8 people. So for those of you watching that were here last time, you'll know I try to bribe you to get questions. I have Gerben Law Firm hats and mugs. So if you'd like a hat or a mug and you ask a question, we will gladly send one to you. So again, if you're just joining us, what I'm looking for today in today's show is to talk about any issues or challenges you're facing in your business or have faced in your business in the past. So to kick things off, I want to tell you about the single greatest mistake I made in my business, which is my law firm. So a law firm, people think, oh, you're a lawyer. It's just like any other business. We have the same challenges, the same things that we have to think about that most other businesses have to think about as well. We're a customer service business. So the biggest thing that I did wrong from about 2008 when I started to 2014 is I didn't really hire anybody. I had a single paralegal and I hired part-time folks here or there, but I tried to do everything myself. I thought that nobody could do it as well as I could. And I also thought that if I hired people, quite frankly, I might make less money at the end of the year. And that was extraordinarily short-sighted on my part because of a number of reasons. One, we've gone from just being me to now we have a total of 4 attorneys besides myself, so a total of 5, plus paralegals, even digital marketing person, Grace, who's here full-time now. And all of those things have allowed me to expand the business and grow the business and grow the revenue. There's never been an instance where we hired somebody and the bottom line business didn't grow, because ultimately it freed me up as the business owner to go out and do more things, to go out and do more marketing, do more advertising, talk to existing clients about areas we could do more work for them. And all those things I couldn't do when I was stuck doing all the day-to-day stuff that I was doing because there was literally nobody to help me. So I think the biggest mistake that, and I see this, a lot of small business owners, is that we're so used to just being in the dirt and grinding and doing everything ourselves. And we think that nobody can do it as well as we can. And look, maybe they can't. But even if somebody's doing something at 80% of how good I can do it, that's most likely perfect. It's good enough. And by having that person, and now many people here, we've really been able to grow a business. And I think for the 6 years that I was really resisting hiring anybody and bringing other people into the business, I didn't have the growth that I could have had. And we really stunted our growth essentially by doing that. So I hope that if you're watching this today and you're thinking about, oh, I need to get to this or I need to get to that and I just don't have the time, that's typically your number one indicator that you need to start hiring some folks and getting some help in the door. And that's something I wish I would have, I could go back in time and change about what I did. So, Grace, how are we doing? Any questions coming in?
We did just get one question.
Okay.
So this is from Rick Finkelstein.
Okay.
He says this is a loaded question. Healthcare is one of the biggest challenges and the biggest expense.
Mm-hmm. What? I'm sorry. What? Say it again. Louder.
All he said is this is a loaded question, but healthcare is one of the biggest challenges and biggest expense. So maybe.
Right. So yeah, I mean, if you're running a company, you have to worry about your health plan and your health care for your employees. Now, if you're under a certain amount of employees, it's not required that you actually offer health insurance, but once you hit a certain threshold, you do. And it is incredibly expensive, and there's no question about that. The one thing I will say is this, is that if you make sure that your employees are comfortable and feel safe, they're going to perform a lot better for you. You need to make sure that you're either paying the employees enough so that they can go out in the marketplace and secure their own health coverage. And if you're at a certain level and you have to offer it, you should offer a good plan. And that should be part of the overall compensation package. Ultimately, the market out there sets the rate for whatever the compensation package should be. So I'm a strong believer that you need to take the cost of healthcare into consideration when you're setting the overall compensation package for anybody that's coming in the door. And if you're going to provide that, it's obviously going to be expensive, and you need to consider that. But you also need to consider the fact that if it just means that you make a few less dollars as the business owner at the end of the year, but your employees are better taken care of, that's ultimately going to result in a better result for the business in the long term. So this sometimes goes with the idea that, hey, look, people are playing quarter by quarter. I mean, public companies obviously do that, and that's extremely short-sighted. But if you're playing for the long haul and you're playing the long game, taking care of people and making sure that everybody's comfortable and feels good and safe is going to help your business over the long run.
No more questions.
No more questions yet. All right. So as a reminder, if you're just joining us, we're talking business today. Talking business is one of my favorite things. I grew up in a family business. I now run my own. It pretty much is my entire life. So I figured, why not talk about it in the live episode today? One of the things that I've noticed in a lot of the culture these days is this talk about work-life balance. And I think that while that's fair, for anybody out there that's running a business, I think work ethic is one of the most overlooked things in today's world, because everybody is looking at, oh, do I have the work-life balance? Hence my sign here. This is one of my favorite sayings because since I opened my own business, my law firm 11 years ago, this is literally what I've done every day. I haven't stopped. And if you're going to survive out there and you're going to have all sorts of competitors come at you and you're going to have all sorts of things happen, you really need to be in it every day. And you need to have the attitude that this is going to be work. But to me, it's not just work. It's fun. Like doing this is fun, right? And this is also work at the same time. So I think if your job is your hobby, then that is, and I know everybody always says you got to love your work and this, that, and the other, and some people just don't, and that's fair. But if you don't, then I think you have to look at, are you in the right business? But if you're in the right business and it's your business, I think making sure that you have the work ethic and know that it's not going to be a 9 to 5, and that your family knows it's not going to be a 9 to 5, and it's going to be all consuming, and you're good with that, then that's typically when good things happen to small business owners. Any other questions coming in on the hotline?
No more questions, but you did get a comment from John Giacomo.
Okay.
Who says, Happy Friday.
Happy Friday, John. Thank you so much. Good to hear from you. Any challenges you have in your practice, anything that you can share with us would be awesome that I can talk about, and I'm sure, and relay some similar experiences that I had. I will say, since I've gone over my number one mistake that I made in my business, which is really just not hiring folks out of fear. I mean, out of fear that, what happens if business dries up? What happens if, I hire them and I make, less at the end of the year. Am I going to cover my expenses? And really getting over that fear and getting over that hump and realizing that when you hire people, good things tend to happen to a business because it frees up the owner, it frees up time to do things you should be doing that you can't get to. But the number 2 mistake I've made over the years is not reinvesting enough in my business. And typically that means in marketing or advertising. I think, over time, what you realize is when you get to the end of the year, if you have money left over, the taxes on that, you're just paying that on taxes. So a better strategy sometimes is to make sure you're reinvesting as the year goes on and putting more money back into the marketing and advertising that can grow the business and help you, take things to the next level.
So we're at 10 minutes, but we also have another question.
Okay.
Rick asks, did you ever use temp agencies before hiring someone?
I never used a temp agency. I have a hard time believing in using temporary folks unless there's a very narrow project that they would need to come in because we have a very, small, if you have like one case or one big issue arise in a business, you can bring in temporary employees and have them work on that. But I don't think it really builds any company culture to hire temporary employees. And I think if it's to deal with the exigency of the day, then that's fine. But I find that hiring people on a full-time basis and making sure that and building them into your company tends to really allow you to grow as opposed to just sort of dealing with a short-term work issue. So I've never used temporary employees. I also think that personally, I think training them to be and to work at the standard that we would expect at our firm would be really difficult on a short-term basis. So I typically view when you're hiring employees for any business, you're going to have a lead time from the time that person actually starts working for you to the time that they're the most possible effective, right? And because they understand your processes, they understand what they need to do, they understand how to do a really good job for your particular business. You have to think of it almost like a pipeline. As new people come in and they get more experienced, and this could be over the course of several years it can take to develop, then they get to that 2 or 3 year point in your business where they're really firing on all cylinders for you. You need to have people behind them in the pipeline, and you need to continue, because that's how you grow. You have to add people to grow. And if you're not constantly doing that and looking at that, I don't think you can grow a business. And again, if you're going to, I'm not against temporary employees for small, one-off projects or, a big project that comes in at the end of the year that you need to push through and your demand's not going to be there in January, February. But if you're really looking to grow, I think it needs to be full-time. So if we don't have any more questions today, what I'll probably end up doing is just leaving you on this note, which is a story that I like to tell because I think it really highlights where I think there's a lot of, I think that there's just an overall lack of work ethic, in today's world where people are very focused on work-life balance. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't have work-life balance, but I'm saying that if you're not willing to work hard, you should not expect the things to come to you that you might otherwise want professionally. And a lot of it to me is avoiding burnout and doing things every day. You need to have things that you do that you enjoy. So it's not that, I play for the weekend and then I get to the weekend and I'm good. If that's your life, that most of your life's at work. Like why that's not going to be good. I really think you need to have every single day things that you do to help you enjoy your day. And so to share with you how I do that, I block off an hour every day. It's a non-negotiable hour between 11 and 12 o'clock. So if you call me between 11 and 12 o'clock, you'll never get me because I'm at the gym. And it's something I really enjoy doing. It's something that sets me up for the rest of the day mentally as well as physically. I'm not crazy. I don't work out that hard, but I do a lot of things to stretch. I do a lot of light workout, light weightlifting, things like that. All things that really not only help my body, but really help my mind. And I think that's highly overlooked by many people that don't incorporate that into their day-to-day. I also, at the end of the day, take time to get outside. I think it's so important to take that time to go for a walk, to play basketball, do whatever you like to do, but do it on an almost daily basis. Because then it's not, it's just a day I was at work. It's a day you got other things going in besides work. Maybe you worked 12 hours around all of that, but you still had a good day. So just some food for thought there that, I think work ethic is extremely important. And I don't think that you should just be playing for 5 days of work and 2 days off. If you're going to really run a business, you're probably on 7 days a week, just like I am, but you've got to find ways to make every day a really good day.